Hello everyone, today we are once again talking about the Rare Breed Triggers FRT, the Forced Reset Trigger. Now, this is something that in the past I initially talked about whether or not I thought it would be a good idea to buy it in the state of California. You get to make your own choices in your life though, so that's up to you. Then we later talked about how the ATF determined that it was a machine gun, even though the gun mechanically, as far as the order of operations goes, and we're not talking about back in school with Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, we are talking about how when the gun cycles, fires, and trigger resets and what all that, how that goes, the gun is semi-automatic. The gun, from the definition of semi-automatic, does comply with that. Now, that doesn't mean that, like with the bump stocks, the ATF can't or won't declare something a machine gun that isn't actually a machine gun and does not convert a gun into a machine gun based on the definition of the law. So when it comes to the Rare Breed triggers, what's going on right now? Well, a lot of you might have been aware, and I've talked about this, posted about this, kind of mentioned it recently, about the new kid on the block when it comes to the wide open triggers. Now, the wide open trigger that is being sold exclusively by Big Daddy Unlimited, and I believe they are basically just the same thing. The wide open trigger through Big Daddy Unlimited is being accused of being a ripoff of the Rare Breed FRT. We're going to talk about all of that that's going on right now, whether or not I think you should buy one, whether it's the FRT or the wide open triggers, whether you live nationwide or just in the state of California, and a whole lot of stuff in just a second. If you want to support this channel though, you can drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It's totally free. If you want to support monetarily, the subscribe star is an option. If you want to purchase anything from one of the links down in the description, whether it's the merch, I know, I'm small, just playing with you, whether it is the body armor from Premier Body Armor, or anything else that you see down in the description, it would be greatly appreciated. It helps out the channel, get a good product. So, the wide open triggers, the forced reset triggers, two products that seem almost identical. In fact, when I first initially saw the wide open trigger from Big Daddy Unlimited, I thought that this was some sort of shell corporation that was being formed so that the Rare Breed trigger could be sold again, and then we would have this weird domino effect of the ATF constantly trying to shut down all of these companies, and it would be impossible to enforce, and maybe they just give up. I legitimately thought that, and so when I initially messaged Big Daddy Unlimited, I asked them a question that was trying to get them to give me the answer that I wanted to hear, and they basically said, this is a semi-automatic trigger, we believe it's fully legal within all 50 states, we will ship it to all 50 states, and I thought, interesting, that's pretty neat. And then time went on, and it turns out Rare Breed Triggers, or Rare Breed Firearms, selling the FRT, the owner of the company posted a video on Instagram detailing how they are not affiliated with them whatsoever, and that they believe this is to be a blatant knockoff of their products. This is very interesting. I'm not going to say whether or not it is or isn't, but what I am going to do is this. I'm going to provide you a link in the description to Rare Breed Triggers lawsuit that they actually served Big Daddy Unlimited and Wide Open Triggers today, I believe, at the time of recording this, 9/16. So you're going to have a link down to that below, which will detail all the information as far as the claims. It seems pretty solid from what I've skimmed through. If you look at the internal mechanisms and the actual construction of the two products, now I haven't seen both of them in person, or haven't been able to compare them in person, so I couldn't necessarily say, but the photos that they show are pretty obvious that it's almost an identical clone with a few minor tweaks. Now, Rare Breed Triggers, or Rare Breed Firearms, claims that they own or have sole licensing to the patents. I'm not sure the exact specifics, but at the end of this video, I will play two statements from Rare Breed Triggers, Rare Breed Firearms, that will, I realize I just said twiggers, with a little bit of a lisp. I got a big tongue, I'm sorry. So at the end of this video, I'm going to have, when I'm done talking, two videos from Rare Breed Firearms discussing the actual situation and the timeline as far as how they initially became the sole distributor through Big Daddy Unlimited, how Big Daddy Unlimited formed a corporation, Wide Open Triggers, how Big Daddy Unlimited then, after the ATF stepped in and tried to shut down Rare Breed Triggers, how Big Daddy Unlimited then started selling the wide open triggers, and it just seems kind of shady in my opinion. Again, I'm not making a statement of what specifically is going on. These are just the facts as they've been presented to me. Some stuff might change in the future. I reached out to Big Daddy Unlimited to try to get a comment from them, and they said that due to the severity of this situation and the claims, that they would be releasing a statement soon. Now, this was about a week ago, I think, that I initially got that message from them, but they have not made a public comment about it. It seems like they're still selling them. They were served with the cease and desist papers. It appears as if they have been. And it's fairly interesting to see what's going to be going forward. Now, with the Rare Breed triggers, the interesting thing about them is that when the ATF said, hey, stop selling those, they said, go fuck yourself. Go pound sand. And that's pretty cool to me because that instills a level of competency and a level of security, knowing that if I was one of the people that bought one of those triggers, that I would feel comfortable knowing that they're not just going to immediately say, hey, ATF, here's his name and address. He's got one of these. This is what a dog looks like. Here's the internal layout of his house. Go ahead and just kick down that dude's door. Would I personally feel the same level of comfort from Big Daddy Unlimited and the wide open triggers should the ATF, which I can only assume the ATF will, come knocking on their door and asking for the customer information? Now, again, I don't know if Big Daddy Unlimited would give that information out. I know that Rare Breed Firearms has a history now of not doing that. So that's very confident, or puts warm and fuzzies in my heart. Now, can you still buy the FRT? It appears so. However, it seems like Rare Breed Firearms, while they say they believe it to be legal in all 50 states, and Big Daddy Unlimited was selling it in all 50 states, Rare Breed Triggers or Rare Breed Firearms doesn't actually sell them directly to the state of California. So as of right now, there is not a direct way to buy one of them if you live in the state of California or maybe some other states. So if you wanted one, you would be limited to either third party, where you're going to be paying a huge markup, or you'd be limited to maybe trying to find someone. There's not really a good way to buy one right now. So I'm going to try to find the link to their legal defense fund, which hopefully I can find by the time that this video goes live. I'd love to be able to have that. So if you wanted to support Rare Breed Triggers in this fight that they are currently going through, you can. Now, I've kind of talked a lot. I've rambled on a bit, but the moral of the story is this. Rare Breed Triggers sold the FRT. Shortly after the ATF stepped in, Big Daddy Unlimited and Wide Open Triggers released a similar hard reset trigger that looks almost identical in my opinion. It seems as if that company was formed prior to or around the time that the ATF said, hey, FRT, stop that. And now Big Daddy Unlimited is selling the wide open triggers. This discussion of should all these companies be out there has been going on. I've seen people say, I think this is a good idea because then if every company starts making a forced reset style trigger, then the ATF won't be able to catch us all. The ATF will have to give up non-compliance. I think there's some definite merit to that kind of that mindset and that argument. However, the patent is still owned by Rare Breed Firearms, who is currently fighting the ATF. And this could be a very important, very big legal case, because if they can get the ATF to lose in a situation like this, it could potentially be one of those court cases that stops the ATF from just looking into their magic 8-ball and saying, yep, this is illegal now, and this thing that you've been doing forever is now illegal. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, go directly to jail. So if something like that could happen, I realize I talk a lot with my hands. If something like that could happen, that would be great. And it seems like there's some potential chance that happens. Now, these other companies that are selling a product for, $300 or so are not, as far as I'm aware, chipping some cash back to Rare Breed Firearms to fight the ATF in this fight. So how does that make you feel? That's up to you to determine. Will you buy a wide open trigger? I'm curious to hear what you guys think down below. This is kind of a muddy situation, and hopefully as time goes on, it will become more clear. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace. Okay, so again, link to the lawsuit will be down in the description below. If I can find a link to Rare Breed Firearms Legal Defense Fund, that will also be down below. And then once I finally shut up, I will play for you the rather long videos from Rare Breed Firearms discussing the patent infringement in their opinion.
Hey guys, Lawrence DeMonico here. We have been receiving a tremendous number of questions and comments regarding a couple of new forced reset triggers that are currently coming to market. I figured it was best to just go ahead and address these comments publicly, put the information on the table, and let people just sort it out. So first, there is the Graves ART. Now, Mr. Graves has, in fact, been granted several patents concerning firearms. Two of them, specifically the FlexFire technology and the FlexFire G2 technology, involve a hard reset of the trigger by the bolt of a firearm. Now, he likes to refer to it as positive displacement, whether you call it positive displacement or a hard reset. The important takeaway is that the reset is done by the bolt. The bolt mechanically resets the trigger of a firearm. Now, these Graves patents, both of them, have been exclusively licensed to Wolf Tactical LLC for the entire field of AR patterned firearms. Now, it is true that Mr. Graves previously worked with the owner of Wolf Tactical LLC. That said, the owner of Wolf Tactical LLC independently applied for and was granted a patent titled Firearm Trigger Mechanism for the hammer resetting the trigger in conjunction with having a locking device. Now, when examining this patent application, the United States Patent and Trademark Office considered the Graves patents, but determined that this specific patent application was new and distinct. Therefore, the invention was granted a patent. Now, Rare Breed Triggers purchased this patent from Wolf Tactical LLC. Now, the Graves patents, the FlexFire technology and the FlexFire G2 technology, are not related and do not have any connection to a drop-in trigger assembly or to the patent we purchased. Rather, his patents are centered around using a bolt to directly contact the trigger and reset that trigger. But keep in mind, Mr. Graves no longer has any rights to either of these patents for the AR platform, as he's entered into an exclusive agreement granting the rights for both of those patents to Wolf Tactical. Now, we haven't seen the ART in person yet, but we do believe there is a high likelihood that it will infringe on our patent. And if it does, we will pursue that to the fullest extent of the law. Now, I'm a firm believer that words matter, dates matter, details matter. So I have written down a timeline that I think is important, and I am going to share with everyone. All right. Now, September 11th of 2014, Thomas Graves applied for the FlexFire technology patent. Now, it claims, among other things, rigid mechanical contact between the bolt and the trigger. This patent was approved on February 14th of 2017. Now, in this patent application, he specifically refers to a striker-fired mechanism in the claims and drawing. Now, this is important to note. Striker-fired. Now, on September 29th of 2017, Wolf Tactical filed for a patent titled Firearm Trigger Mechanism. Now, this specifically is hammer to trigger reset in conjunction with a locking device. Now, November 13th of 2017, Graves files for the FlexFire G2 technology. This is a hammered fire version of the earlier FlexFire technology patent that was striker fired. So once again, it is important to note that it is a rigid mechanical contact between the bolt and the trigger, but was previously for a striker-fired mechanism. Now it is for a hammer-fired mechanism. But both of these require rigid mechanical contact between the bolt and the trigger. Now, January 31st of 2018, Wolf Tactical exclusively licensed the Graves FlexFire technology and FlexFire G2 technology patents for the AR platform. At this point, Thomas Graves no longer had any rights whatsoever to the FlexFire technology or the FlexFire G2 technology patents for the AR platform. On April 10th of 2018, Graves is granted the FlexFire G2 technology patent, but keep in mind, it was already exclusively licensed to Wolf Tactical. Now, December 24th of 2019, Wolf Tactical is granted the patent titled Firearm Trigger Mechanism, where the hammer resets the trigger in conjunction with having a locking device. The important takeaway here is for the FlexFire technology and the FlexFire G2 technology, the bolt has rigid mechanical contact with the trigger. In the Wolf Tactical Firearm Trigger Mechanism patent, the hammer resets the trigger in conjunction with having a locking device. Now, on May 7th of 2020, Rare Breed Triggers purchased this patent, the Firearm Trigger Mechanism patent, from Wolf Tactical LLC. Now, we will post that timeline in the first comment of this video so you guys can read it for yourself. Now, I will go ahead and address the other trigger that is currently coming to market. There is a trigger being manufactured by Wide Open Enterprises and being sold by Big Daddy Unlimited, or most people know them as BDU. I've seen comments suggesting that we, Rare Breed Triggers, are somehow involved or have approved this trigger. We most assuredly are not involved, and we absolutely have not approved this trigger. Now, based on a high demand for the FRT and our limited production numbers, we did not need a relationship with BDU. That said, we allowed BDU to serve as our exclusive distributor based on a very solid, long-standing relationship I have with one of their directors. Now, Wide Open Enterprises was established in May of 2021. So it appears that within just a few short months of acting as our exclusive distributor, they had begun to work on what looks like a direct knockoff of our patented trigger. Now, I'll be the first to say I haven't actually seen or touched one. But from what can be gathered from photos posted online, I feel very confident saying there's something like a 99.99999% chance that it will infringe on our patent. And as most of you are probably have already assumed, the relationship between Rare Breed Triggers and BDU has come to an end. Like, it's done, it's finished, it will be no more. In addition, we have already served them with a cease and desist, and you can bet your ass that we'll be pursuing this to the full extent of the law. Now, while it's reasonable to assume most people are not familiar with patent law, I feel confident in saying that most people know that a direct knockoff would infringe on one's patent. But since we're on the topic, I might as well go ahead and put it out there for everyone's benefit that our patent is much more broad than to only cover a direct knockoff. Our patents protect us from anyone manufacturing and selling a trigger that functions in the same way, even if it looks different. But what's more, our patent isn't limited to the AR platform. It covers triggers for the AK and other platforms as well. And before anyone asks, the answer is yes. We have other models currently in the works. Now, to address the elephant in the room, unfortunately, dealing with both of these issues has taken time, money, and energy away from our fight against the ATF and the DOJ. But rest assured, we will remain focused on the big picture. We will not give up the fight. And I appreciate everyone's support with our patent infringement issues and our fight against the ATF. Thank you, everyone. Just stay tuned on our socials, and we'll keep everybody up to date on the current happenings. Hello, everyone. Lawrence DeMonico here. Happy Thursday. It is September 16th. I've got a couple updates to share with everyone. First, we had court today, and in our court case, pretty much nothing was decided. The can was kicked down the road. But the point of today's hearing was to discuss with the court what we plan to do in the evidentiary hearing that is coming up. Now, the evidentiary hearing has been set for October 4th. The court wanted to know how many witnesses we plan to bring, how much time we needed, so on and so forth. So we informed the court how many witnesses we plan to bring. We have been given an entire day for the evidentiary hearing, and this is fantastic. Now, the defendants, the DOJ and ATF, have already filed a motion of in limine and plan to file another motion of in limine. And what this does, they are arguing that we should not be given the opportunity to submit evidence or provide any expert witness testimony. They are arguing that the court should make its ruling on their information and their information alone, which is about as messed up gets. But that is the situation. That's the issue that we are currently facing. We will make that argument, and we'll see how that's going to play out. We may not know whether or not we will be able to submit evidence and have expert witness testimony until the actual day of the evidentiary hearing. I hope to find out sooner. Obviously, we're spending a fortune flying expert witnesses around and putting them up in hotels in order to testify in this hearing. So hopefully we'll find out ahead of time. But regardless, that's the issue that we're facing. So until October 4th, nothing new is really going to be gained. This is where we're at. So kind of a bit of a holding pattern until October 4th. Now, second update. Let me shuffle some papers around real quick. Here's what I've got, guys. Boom. This is a lawsuit. We filed a lawsuit for patent infringement against Big Daddy Unlimited yesterday in the Northern District of Florida. In my last video, I told everybody that, if you infringe, we're going to take action. And I'd like to think that people are smart enough to realize now that if we're willing to fight the ATF, the DOJ, and the Attorney General, that we're going to fight people that infringe on our patent. So, the lawsuit was filed yesterday. The defendants are being served today. They may have already been served. They may be served in the next couple of hours. Who knows? This video may get to them before they're actually served. So that said, I don't really have anything to add to that. It is what it is. But that's update 1 and update 2. So as information becomes available, I'll be sure to share it with you guys. Feel free to hit the socials asking questions. I'll do my best to respond. I'm typically extremely busy and don't hit up the socials as much as everyone would like me to, but I'm doing my best. All right. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your support. I can't tell you how much we appreciate your support in our bigger overall fight, but also our fight against people that are just ripping us off. So have a great Thursday. Everybody take care.